All right, and we're back with round two. Uh, I wanted to thank Neltrono over there for their subscription. Thank you for supporting Portland Paper. I have a great fondness for paper magic over online magic, so it's really nice to see people who have that spirit as well. Um, Round two, we are going to see Storm against Bant Snow Control. So on your left, you're going to see Alder on Storm, and on your right, William is on Snow Control. So I don't know what to expect out of the Snow Control list exactly. I assume some maybe Arkham's Astrolapes.
Yeah,
But
it looked like kind of your basic your basic blue-eye control deck plus Snowlands.
yeah, I mean, Ice Fang Quaddle, it's a magic card. So playing Baleful Strix, essentially, not bad.
Yeah, I wonder if William is reaching into green for any other cards. It would be interesting to see if
I wouldn't be shocked if he wasn't. I think it's worth it.
absolutely. Yeah, it feels if your mana's good, it feels almost free.
I believe we have them backwards. So
You
I
are
am
totally
sorry.
correct.
I said it wrong. On your right is going to be Alderon Storm. And we have two people keeping 7. William leads Vista. Snyland. Arkham's Astrolabe. Draw a card. Much better, Prophetic Prism.
Called shots.
Spiral of Canal into his Serum Visions. Could be Storm, could be Phoenix.
That's true. Yeah, it is. It is. I feel like Storm has gotten a little bit of equity now in that its starts can look somewhat similar to Phoenix.
Top with the Serum Visions. Yeah, as long as they don't lead on like a Shivan Reef or something.
But I guess the jig is usually up once they play their enabler. Like
Oh,
once
yeah.
Spiral or Goblin Electromancer comes down, you know what's up.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this matchup's going to be somewhat dependent on how much graveyard hate William is playing main deck.
That makes sense to me, and it looks like Alder does have one of those enablers in the form of Goblin Electromancer. Chat calling out Arya to get around Grave Hate in Storm, and that makes a lot of sense. I think it's a powerful card in Phoenix, and Storm is even better at casting a crap ton of cantrips, so...
Yeah, Arya, another one of those cards that kind of I felt like flew a bit under the radar. Wasn't necessarily expecting that it would make as big of a splash as it has.
Yeah, no, card is a must answer very quickly. It is alarming how fast you can get dead from that card. Though noteworthy, if you can prevent yourself from being targeted, they still have to target.
Oh yeah,
So you
that's
can
a good
choke
point.
someone on their own Arya if you can put up a shield. Looks like Electromancer eats Path, which gives Alder another land, which is not irrelevant at all, but definitely is going to slow him down.
Alder going for the bucket island.
I never know what to make of that art.
Yeah, I don't either.
Is that an island? It's in space.
Yeah.
Teferi Time Raveler.
So does this card affect Storm very much? How do you feel like this card is against Storm?
I'm not sure it does that much. It stops them from Grape Shot, Remand Grape Shot, but otherwise Storm plays pretty well at sorcery speed. Serum Vision, Scry, seeing an Opt, and
Do you feel like Arya Flame is just a purely better Pyromancer's Ascension, or do you think that we
Yes.
might hit a meta where Pyromancer's Ascension comes back?
I think it's just better.
Okay.
I think that for the meta to move that far away from Graveyard Hate, like would be pretty alarming, I think. I mean, I think we'd have to see just as much enchantment hate as we now see graveyard hate for that to be a consideration.
Right. Of note, Pyromancer's Ascension does have some infinite combos, which
That's legitimate.
are kind of nice, but I think that you are probably correct as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the decks that are playing either are trying to get alternate plans, and so having an alternate plan that gets away from the yard is relevant. Alder jamming another Electromancer, starting with a Metamorphose to gain a mana, but that will not work as it is forced. Metamorphose, an extremely powerful card, especially when it goes up a mana.
Interesting. William decides to Teferi bounce his own Arkham's Astrolabe.
Wants to draw another card. Sick value play.
So he's prioritizing just straight up finding an answer for that Electromancer this turn rather than getting it off the board.
Yeah, I think that makes sense given that Alder, assuming he has another land, would be able to replay the Electromancer, have 3 land available.
The first time. Down take. Oh, sorry, 2. My apologies. Sorry.
Yeah, we've got the loyalty correction there.
There's no covered land.
I think that makes a lot of sense from William.
Narset.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's going to lead to some Electromancer beats, I assume.
Yeah, definitely going to keep Alder from doing any more sculpting. So if he goes off, he's going to have it all self-contained.
Yeah, I don't think that is reasonable for him to lethally storm off without cantripping. We could see, I don't know, a value grave shot to kill the planeswalkers, but that seems rough.
I think as long as Alder can make it to Past in Flames, I think probably a value grape shot makes a degree of sense here.
That makes sense, yeah.
Williams also already used at least 1 copy of Force of Negation, which is his best weapon against Past in Flames.
Yes, very much so. And so we see Electromancer taking out Teferi first.
Chat kind of echoing.
Yeah.
Or possibly preempting our thoughts.
Yeah. Supreme Verdict, I think, is the play here.
Doesn't feel great to pay 4 mana to get an Electromancer off the field, but
whatever it takes against Storm.
Yeah.
Drawing that card on William's turn to get around the Narset.
Alder back to being able to play instant speed magic. With Teferi gone.
Just a tiny bit of sculpting. Activating Narset again. Picking up Detention Sphere.
I guess he's Williams covering against both goblins and another enabler. Although I imagine with Alder seeing that, he probably won't play his next enabler until he knows he can just go off.
Yeah. That's got to be a hedge against empty. It's a good call there.
This is a really fun matchup in that it feels very close to just kind of being blown wide open at any given time.
Absolutely. And William has to repeal on Narset. Alder would not like the Narset in play.
That, to me, signals that Alder is going to try and go off this
Yeah.
turn.
I think Alder's ready to go. He has a lot of mana.
Wow.
Hard force, no thanks.
So I guess William's saying, Alder, if you're willing to put that much importance on Narset, William is also willing to put that much importance on it.
Yeah, if you want this gone, I want to keep it.
What do you think about that read?
I think that's legitimate because usually you don't see a repeal from Storm until they're ready to go. And Alder, I believe, just drew a card and passed. So I think William had the read correct there. That Alder is waiting for an answer to Narset.
Yeah, he's probably feeling pretty good. Of note, William has taken himself down to 13, which is an eminently grape-shotable life total.
Yeah, it's not quite as hard from 13, and we are going to see a Gifts Ungiven from Alder.
Which conveniently is not affected by Narset.
Nope. No cards drawn.
And I think unless William has interaction in his hand, that Alder is going to be able to take him out this turn.
Very likely. He's got a stacked hand. He gets to stack it a little more. We see Grape Shot, Ritual, Aria, and Past in Flames, I believe. Oh, no, that's 2 rituals. No, one is a Manamorphose. All right. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's 2
Manamorphose.
rituals, Manamorphose, and Grape Shot.
All right. Grape Shot to the yard, which probably signals that Alter has the Past in Flames in hand.
I would think so. Or he's playing like Noxious Revival or something like that. Although, look,
been a
Alder
while
is
since
stuck
I've
with
seen
2 Serum Visions in hand that are doing nothing.
Narset's got to go.
I do like that Will put the Grape Shot in the graveyard, just forcing Alder to have the Past in Flames.
Yep. And the thing is that Alder, he also threw the Ritual in the graveyard, so unless Alter had another Ritual in hand, Past in Flames is a tap down. And so the only relevant way to use it at that point is just to be able to flash it back the next turn, and that seems very rough.
Notably, Alder keeps 2 cards on top there with the Serum Vision, so obviously liked what he saw.
Some answer to Narset. But at this point, Will's been drawing cards. Will's got a lot of mana. It would surprise me if he didn't have an answer. This is game 1.
So Morphos in response, and Alder is able to draw the card as via Narset's text. He has not drawn a card yet this turn, as it's William's turn.
Drawing a card off the bounce.
This Teferi Astrolabe bounce is kind of clever.
Yeah, that is...
And
That-
William's still able to keep up Cryptic Command mana even after.
Yeah, that's the problem with going this late in the game against blue-white. They're just... The odds of you ever being able to push through anything relevant just get smaller and smaller every land drop they make. Baral.
Is that a path in William's hand?
He still has the detention sphere.
Well,
And
this
here
would
we
be
go.
the time.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun. Storm count of 2.
Yeah.
Does Ritual resolve?
Yeah, if you were going to path, you should do it now, William.
2 red, yeah, go ahead.
Resolves. 3 red.
I've been doing it on paper all night, but I figure for coverage, I should probably have it on use.
I mean,
Alder thinking about us,
Aw.
trying to find some die.
I mean,
I just want to get. I'll just grab some basics, because that'll just make it look simpler, I think.
Giving us a little visual. You know, I understand and think that it makes a lot of sense to record floating mana and storm count on paper, but I am going to miss all the nice visual arrangements that Storm players set up. So here we go, 3 red floating.
Well, it's kind of another thing that you can customize, you know, how people customize
yeah.
tokens, and like you get to do that with your kind of storm counters
Storm
too, which
count
is
of
pretty
3.
neat.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Definitely enjoy my accessorizing.
Cast some Metamorphose for a red.
Metamorphose is a mini ritual with Narset in play.
Cast Past and Flames for 3 red. Fourth spell.
I'll counter the passive.
That we will see a cryptic command on Past in Flames.
Blue, blue, blue.
That's pretty good here.
Ouch.
I will counter.
Modes. Counter and
Would you consider bouncing your own Teferi here?
I'll counter draw.
it's going to counter draw.
Wait, how, you have no. What do you have left?
I have 2 blue and 4,
2 blue.
and 2 mana untapped, and I haven't played a land.
He's counter drawn now. He's drawn the card.
Okay.
Okay. He's looked at the card. He's drawn the card.
I believe that puts us up to 5 storm count.
The Past in Flames was the 4th. This will be the 5th. But notably without the ability
Gifts.
to Grape Shot.
Doesn't this tap out Alder?
I'm wondering how he's paying for this.
I thought he had 2
He
blue
had 2 blue floating.
plus a land. So I guess he would just have the... Maybe he just hasn't removed the die.
Yeah. He should have 0 blue floating at this point, unless he tapped another land.
I think so.
He should
If you want to...
Yeah, I believe Alder has no mana floating at this point.
What's up?
Gifts is 3, but he tapped 1 land and removed 1 blue mana.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure you can make this.
Yeah.
Yes, the die above the basics indicates storm count, but the die on the island is indicating 1 floating blue mana.
Actually, no. Give me one. Oh, gosh.
We have
Think about it if you want to.
Ritual, Past in Flames, Metamorphose.
I like how William played it. I would give the Past in Flames and the Metamorphose.
Absolutely. Alder's cramped on mana here. You want to cut that as hard as you can.
And the Morphos is essentially the smallest ritual.
I tapped another land.
Yes.
And it's not drawing him a card at this point because of your own Narset, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Some debate over
I don't know.
floating mana.
What's going on?
Did I underpay by a blue? I had 2 blue. I thought I had. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I think I'm
probably
looking
I
up.
don't think I should have the mana float.
Yeah, I didn't think he should either.
Okay.
It
His
just
gifts was 3, but he tapped 1 land.
doesn't change your decision.
No, just running as is.
Good guy, Alder,
Alright.
making sure that it doesn't change William's
Yeah.
decision.
Yep. So,
Pass.
looks like Alder cannot move forward from here. Past in Flames will be cheaper next turn. If Baral stays on the battlefield, it will be not too difficult.
And Alder is stocked. He has 2 Past in Flames in the yard.
And that Grape Shot will finally take out the Narset.
Target path.
Alright. This is a Snapcaster Mage taking out Baral.
Man, this game's a grind fest.
Ooh.
Although I actually don't even think Alder needs any cost reducers at this point.
Check for 1. Pass.
Alright. See what we can do. 6 mana on the table.
Looks like William still has that Detention Spear, and I can't tell if that's another Cryptic in hand.
I believe it is.
Ritual fire.
Here we go. Storm count of 1. 3 red floating.
And Alder does have an empty in hand. So if
He
he
knows
goes...
about the detention sphere
Good point.
because it was picked up off of Narset.
Yes.
Card blue. Flower zones.
Yeah.
Metamorphose, grab a blue mana.
Seems like such a balanced card when all it can do is turn a blue mana into a red mana.
Significantly less busted.
Count, yeah. Count.
Counter on Past in Flames going to make this very difficult.
Of note, Alder has another one in graveyard, so as far as resources used, he still has quite a bit.
Yep. Serum Visions for the Scry too. Oof. This Narset's done so much work this game.
Yes, it has.
Oh.
Step. I'll just crack.
Welcome, Landoro, all the way from South Carolina. It's nice to have you watching.
Man, watching Storm players try and navigate around a board full of hate.
It is not easy to try to grind through all this.
No, the deck is hard enough to play when the board is clear,
Yeah.
and to try and play it optimally through a Narset and a Teferi.
I'll take the 3.
All right, William laying the beat down with Snapcaster Mage and Ice Fang Quaddle. Alder's on the clock. There's a Colonnade as well, but if we see William put the shields down, I'll be very surprised.
Well, and William's just going to have to keep finding answers because Past in Flames is going to be back again.
Yep. But is it going to run Alder out of gas to remove that Narset? He's got one card in hand. Electromancer, that'll help. He does have a path. William does have a path.
I do think it's a very big deal. You noted earlier that you can't Grape Shot Remand
Yeah.
with a Teferi in play.
For 4 goblins?
Because 12 would be a fairly
Okay, so 4
easy life total to kill William at with even a smaller storm count if you had that available to you.
Yep. So we're seeing an empty for 4 goblins. I wonder if Alder's
end step, I'll pass that back.
thinking about Detention Sphere or just trying to draw out all of William's answers, maybe.
End step, I'll destroy spider. I'll
Field your land. Path a goblin. Or path the Electromancer, my mistake.
William testing Alder on number of basics. You can see Alder is playing at least 5.
Yep.
He has not failed to find yet.
As someone partial to Crucible of Worlds, I do love the decline to search.
It is a really good feeling when you finally kind of hit that end, especially against like a Tron deck.
Oh yeah. Strip mine time. Detention Sphere takes out the empty tokens.
Is it time to do some colonnade beats?
Yes.
For 4, 5, 7.
Go to 6.
Aggro.
So
All
is,
right.
is William tapped out? I feel like if he just tapped out, he still is going to die.
This seems extremely possible. He has 3 mana up. He could have... He's spent a couple Force of Negations.
So he could have Logic Knot or Dovin's Veto. Or I guess, yeah, Force of Negation.
Alder's just got to make him have it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Alder has no cards in hand. William has 1. It's now or never, and he's dead on board. Oh, Alder has 1 card in hand.
So I guess deciding whether he leads on whatever he has in hand or leads on Past in Flames here.
Oh, the tension is
Man,
high.
what a game 1.
Yeah, we're
30
still
minute
at
game
game
one.
1.
Jeez.
Control doing control things. This is so pivotal. Somebody loses this turn.
When I watch Storm players play, I just
Past in
imagine that they're like
Flames.
trapped in the
Tapping
sewer system
5?
under the city and they have to escape. So storm count.
Storm count 1. Past in Flames on the flashback. Should be 4. Did Alder miss a mana? Or am I mistaking Past in
I
Flames?
think Past in
flashback
Flames
cost?
is 5 on. I
On
think
the
it's
flashback?
4 to hardcast and 5
Oh,
on
okay,
the
I have it
flashback, I
backwards.
believe.
I know we have some Storm players in the chat.
Yeah, help chat.
7 red floating. Storm count of 6. Mana more foes. Drawing cards now.
Can't draw cards though.
4 then 5. Thank you, chat.
I'm gonna add blue. This is the 7th spell.
Yeah, not being able to draw cards from the cantrips. Narset is so good.
Doing so much work.
I'm gonna not change mana at all, just for storm.
Storm count of 8.
Cast a zero.
Storm count of 9.
White spell. Scry 2.
Not all the red spells in the graveyard. Empty for the storm count. Serum Vision Scry 2.
I believe
10.
William is at 12, right?
I think we can do it. Oh, are we a mana short?
I don't. We can't cast any more blue spells.
Oh, we got a Metamorphose.
Okay.
Oh, this does it. This does it, I think.
Yeah, unless William has a counter, but
Yeah, no, it
you
doesn't
would've-
matter. Storm is cast.
Well, if he's able to counter one, okay, now it doesn't matter.
Alder has a blue floating. It would be
You for 13 total copies.
13 total copies. Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Wow.
Whoa. Alder wins this one with Storm
They do
through a Narset.
I appreciate it.
Jeez, I wonder. So
I'm just
William
doing it on paper,
kind of signaled that he had.
so it's like hard to go
I guess he didn't signal that he had nothing because he left 3 mana up, but
left
he
3 mana up.
forced Alder to have it there.
Yeah.
So Alder had to go off, and if William knew that Alder would be able to kill him going off, maybe he should have like played a little slower and not forced Alder to try and go off that next turn. Or do you think Alder would have tried to go off regardless?
I don't think William is in a controlling position there. He has an answer or he doesn't. And putting Alder on a 2-turn clock like that and just setting it up and saying you have to answer me right now or I kill you next turn forces Alder not to be able to do any kind of playing around anything. Alder just has to go. And I think the read could have been from William if he wanted to sequence through it all that, he could tell he was dead from what was in the graveyard, but I don't think William had options there.
Definitely a tough game to navigate and a lot of interesting micro decisions there.
Interesting point from chat that if William had bounced his own Snapcaster.
Yes, that is a very good point.
That was an option.
Once you have Snapcaster and a cryptic or a couple cryptics in the yard,
Yeah.
it is oftentimes worth it to just kind of keep.
Yeah. Because if he sits there and clips every Past in Flames until Alder runs out, then there's nothing doing.
And I imagine that Alder's not playing any more than 2,
turn 15.
right? Most
No.
of us, I believe, play.
Just 2.
I guess you're playing blue white, so this probably happens fairly often. Jeez.
So moving to sideboard here, and this is kind of the point where if you're on Alder's side, you kind of have to sideboard based on what you believe William's bringing in. So if you think William's kind of selling out with Graveyard Hate, then you probably bring in your max number of Aria Flames.
Yeah, I think, it's completely reasonable to expect Rest in Peace out of a blue-white style control deck. You may see gifts swapped out for pieces of the puzzle. I know some Storm players have been trying Factor Fiction, but I think overall people have been happier with pieces. At least from the Storm players I've talked to. Chat, what do you think? Does Factor Fiction have a place in Storm?
Verdict.
Well, yeah, and how many people have tried playing Factor Fiction in Modern?
I've
'Cause-
encountered it, actually. I haven't seen it do a ton of work,
Do you have
but
any removal spell in hand?
yeah, chat has the
But if I just like
similar
go
idea that
straight out
pieces
my
is
turn,
still where it's at for sideboarding out of gifts ungiven.
I was very excited about Fact or Fiction coming into Modern, but I wouldn't let myself play it because I have too much nostalgia for that card, and I feel like it would blind me. So I was waiting for somebody else to decide, so I didn't just jam my Invasion copies in a bunch of decks
Oh
where
yeah,
they shouldn't be.
I have my playset just sitting there, and I can't look at them either because you're right; they'll just go in a deck.
It's such a darling picture of Squee and Hannah.
That old vibrant border. Yeah, let's pull that up.
Yeah. Yep, it's happening.
Oh yes. No, every time someone casts it in Modern Horizons Limited, like I was happy. I mean, I wasn't happy that they were gonna get, you know, some good value, but oh no, not that one. Yes, this one.
Well, it's also just, it was such a great printing for the game in that it's a very interesting and interactive card.
Yes, it's a mini game. Like you learn so much about your opponent's hand by how they split, and then you learn so much about the Fact or Fiction caster's hand by which pile they take. It's just, oh, that card is amazing.
And the art's perfect. You give it to Squee to make the decision, and he gives you all 5 cards because he doesn't really understand how the whole pile system works.
Colonnade tap starting us off. Yeah, I've heard if you don't want to think too hard about Fact or Fiction, you can just shuffle them, split 3-2, and be done with the whole mess.
That seems like exactly what the opponent would want you to do.
I guess. Scry top. Rest in peace. Here we go. Let's see what Alder's alternate plan is. Shock and an Electromancer.
I think
So
William,
enabled.
does William have an engineered explosives?
Pathing Electromancer. Engineered explosives on 2 would be a little bit awkward right now, but it would work on the empty tokens.
Yeah, I like engineered explosives in that it's, especially with William playing Bant, it's an answer to both Arya and empty tokens.
Good point. So without an Astrolabe, I wonder if this gets a Snow Forest. Yes. Sets up Quaddle. The nice thing about Quaddle is if you need it, you can flash it in, or you could otherwise interact, and you can just hold up that mana.
Right, it's nice to be able to play it on end step. Of the new Snow Basics, I think the Forest has my favorite art.
I'm gonna go with the Swamp. Actually, it's nice and desolate, but I'm kind of partial to swamps in general.
Fair.
Yep. Alder saw this coming and is going to cast pieces.
Well, all that talk about Fact or Fiction.
Yeah, Alder's not about it.
No.
Completely reasonable. Picks up a ritual and a Metamorphose. Steam Vents tapped. Pass the turn.
William gets to feel a little bit happy that the rest of the cards from the pieces go straight to exile, so at least Alder's not grabbing any additional value by stocking his graveyard.
Yeah, fortunately for Alder, he was able to send away things that were dead in yard anyway. I believe a land and a Baral and an Electromancer. Unfortunately for Alder, there goes a Baral and an Electromancer. Fiery Islets. Chat, is it Horizon lands or Canopy lands? Cracking Islet, draw a card. Canopy lands is 1 vote. Horizon lands. Sleight of hand.
I think I'm on the Canopy. The Canopy.
No,
lands.
Horizon lands. It's a pun with the set name.
Yeah, I do like bad puns. All right.
All right, I'm glad. Okay, yes.
I'll change.
Persuaded you.
You've changed my opinion.
And here's Ice Fang Quaddle. No interaction for the cantrips.
Draw card.
A little bit of wheel spin. A little bit of flying snake. Chat strongly in the Horizon camp. We have 3-1.
Check for one.
17.
Attempt to cast
Because I guess
Here
it
she
still
is.
does homage to the OG.
Yep.
So you know,
Yeah.
it does.
You gotta get the triple entendre.
Yeah.
At least it's double.
Yeah.
Double. Why go for single when you can double?
Yes.
Response Manamorphose, pick up a card before you can't. Floating mana, but no further actions with it, so I'm assuming Alder is going to let that mana go. Though, interestingly enough, it's still William's turn, so the Manamorphose in response was maybe digging for an answer to Narset.
Right.
Like if he's boarded in Spell Pierce.
Although, oh yeah, right, because, yep. And actually, Alder not even noting the colors of mana he made. But notably, he does have mana in his pool.
Yep. No longer. Oh, this game again. Can Alder pull it out under Narset once more? I'm sure he's boarded in interaction for it, though.
Yeah, I mean, Narset and Rest in Peace.
Yeah. Oof.
So William has kind of provided two pieces of the Storm puzzle, so to speak. But Storm folds to generally a couple pieces of interaction / disruption and a clock. And William has not put the third piece of the clock together so far.
Hey, Ice Fang Quaddle's the clock.
Yes.
Technically.
You win this round.
Wipe Away and Echoing Truth, also fine answers to Narset. Though not as fine as anything that'll just finish her off. How many bolts does Storm run in the board, if any?
That's a good question. Let's take a quick look.
We have a repeal on Narset. Will this resolve? 2 to 4 bolts is
I imagine
the
William's
word
going to
from
fight.
chat. Yeah, he's got to fight this. If this repeal goes off, Alder could just go. We see a hard force. Keeping the hand stocked. Notably cannot pay the alternate cost on his own turn. Alder plays land and passes.
I wonder if Williams sided in anything like a Lyra, any faster clocks. I just feel like if you give Storm 20 turns, they're going to find a way to beat you through
It's typically been my experience.
a number of hate pieces.
We see response to Teferi, Manamorphose, blue-red, draw a card. Do we have anything to say about Teferi? Remand the Teferi. Would you like to tap down to stick him or not? Draw a card.
And no draw, actually, here from
Or-
Narset.
Oh, you're correct.
Because he...
He already metamorphosed.
Yes. Did he need to Manamorphose for the right colors of mana, or was that a...
I don't know
was
if he
that
drew
maybe
into the
a miss?
remand.
Ah, good point. I imagine
Fang.
that's probably the case. Alder is generally very tight with his sequencing.
Yes. Alder taking the beats down to 14 from the Quaddle.
Dante. Draw card.
Down to Teferi, bounce Quaddle, draw.
And you better bet that Quaddle's going to be back.
More drawing cards. William a fan of bouncing his cantripping permanents. Here's an Electromancer.
That said, we're sitting in about 5 minutes on the clock here, so Alder might just be playing for the to not lose at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's completely reasonable given the, as you point out, the clock speed that William is presenting.
It is hard enough to finish 3 games of Magic with 50 minutes when you're playing blue-white control, and we do have 45-minute rounds
Yeah.
here at Guardian on Mondays.
Yep.
So if you play blue-white control, you better be fast.
Yep. You got to be able to play land and say go efficiently. Question, if this is a draw, does Alder win? Yes. If this game is drawn, then Alder will win with a 1-0-1 match victory, leading to 3 match points for him and 0 for William. If William can pull this game out, it will be 1-1, and each player will receive 1 match point. Activate Colonnade. Here we go. Huh.
Wow.
5 in the air. William has assessed the situation.
Yeah, this is bold. I believe I saw a spell pierce in William's hand.
I'm slightly
spell
worried about what's going to happen to that Narset with that Electromancer and that Quaddle no longer here to block.
Yeah, that may have been an oversight unless William is sitting on some sort of interaction.
Like a path. If he has a path, this all adds up.
Somebody mentioned one of the last streams we were doing that when Alder's hands start to shake a little bit, it means he's got the kill. So
You can feel it.
So I
So
think maybe
he's ready to
Alder's
go.
got the kill.
Do we see a path to exile? I would think that would happen in the upkeep here, sometime before Alder could gain a discount off it. So I'm guessing there's no path from William. Still running Gifts Ungiven, notably less good with Rest in Peace in play, but perhaps this was more of a hedge against Rest in Peace when he wasn't sure it was coming in.
Sure. Yeah, or maybe he just has some sideboard cards that are just not good in the matchup.
Fair. So we've got empty grape shot pieces and is that peer through depths?
So are we in Alder's turn right now?
We are in Alder's
Okay.
turn. We're seeing Gifts Ungiven. Notably, William has a Logic Knot in hand.
Yes. Logic Knot and a Spell Snare, I think.
Ritual.
So it is time to storm off, says
Here
Alder.
we go. Notably, those dice getting knocked around, perhaps exactly the reason for the rules change. Peer through depths also notably doesn't draw a card.
Oh, he got to splice. So if I'm William, I 100% go for the counter now.
I don't think he has it.
He had a, didn't he
Oh,
have
he has
a
the
Logic
Logic Knot. He has the Logic
Oh,
Knot.
but Rest in Peace has taken
Logic
out his
Knot for
own
0.
graveyard. And hold up, does Splice change the mana cost of the spell? Because I'm pretty sure he had a Spell Snare available.
Splice does not change the mana cost of the spell. It just pastes the text on the bottom.
So if William did have a Spell Snare, I believe that the time to use it would have been on the spliced Desperate Ritual.
Yeah, that would probably clip Alder pretty well.
Because Alder had invested, I think, 3 mana into that.
Here's Empty the Warrens. Can we get it done?
I believe William does have the Engineered Explosives
He
in
does.
hand.
He's had that the whole game and held it back for just such a moment.
So Empty's not going to be enough on its own.
No. Ritual, ritual, ritual. Storm count of 6. Storm count of 7. Empty the Warrens.
So that's interesting. So Alder's asking William, do you have the answer to Empty? And he is going to find out that William does. That said, Alder is at 9, and we have just hit time and round.
Here comes the attack on Narset. Snapcaster Mage. Block your Electromancer.
Yeah, you're good, bro.
That was heads up by Alder, not attacking first.
Turn 1. Draw card.
16 goblin tokens. Soon to go kaboom.
Zero?
EE on 0.
Well, no, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, Alder picking him up a little early.
And
We're
we
still
are
here.
on turn 1.
Believe do we have colonnade mana? Yes, we do. As well as the 2 to blow explosives. It's 5.
So William's got
Yeah.
he's got the clock to be able to finish Alder off in turns.
Yeah, if Alder doesn't have an answer here,
Looks like he's sitting on, is that 2 repeals maybe in hand? But repeal is non-land, I believe, right?
I believe so. Opt. Scry.
I think it's a draw. I think the match is a draw.
All right, players have decided that William has this on lockdown. Lethal and Alder cannot answer. So this second game is a win for William, and the match is a draw. 1-1.
At the beginning of the round, I said, what the fuck?
Some really tight play on both sides. I liked Alder recognizing that, you know, the game was gonna end at that point unless he went for it, and so he went for the line that was available to him with goblin tokens.
I mean, I think you were winning the race either way, I guess. Like, I would have had to be able to make like one more set of goblins, I guess.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the blue to do it. Jeez, that was.
Good stuff. I haven't played in a
That was
while.
interesting.
So I had to think it through. And,
Well, we managed to pick a match that lasted the entire round. All we had to do was pick blue-white control, although somehow last round we had blue-white control finishing a match.
Yep.
Or I guess Bant control, excuse me.
Yep, no, pick the storm match and went to time with it. But blue-white will do that to pretty much any opponent if it has a chance at the game.
Getting a look at some of the sideboarding choices, it looks like Alder brought in 3 pieces of the puzzle, a Fluster Storm, and maybe it was 2 bolts.
Reasonable. I mean, seeing Narset, you just have to board in everything that could possibly answer it.
Right. And Peace is another card that gets around Narset
Yes,
as well.
very much so.
All right, chat. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with round 3 of Modern Monday Magic. And after that, we will have one more round. So stick around for the next 2 rounds, and we will be back shortly.